Raffael Cerqueira is another story of dominant, undefeated Brazilians whose biggest question mark is the level of competition in the Brazilian regional scene. The tape for me felt very familiar to Igor Cavalcanti, who I made a video on recently for this past season of the Contender Series, but what works in Raffael's favor is his in-cage time, which in 11 fights undefeated has fought it to a second round on multiple occasions and a decision early in his mixed martial arts career. But nonetheless, we'll take a look at the Brazilian light heavyweight's career highlights. Raffael debuted to mixed martial arts in 2019, and with a first-round knockout, he was off. With a background training in both judo and jiu-jitsu, probably the biggest advantage is his stable of training partners that includes the number 6 UFC heavyweight in Jailton Almeida. It took him only 2 fights before he would find a home in Demo Fight, committing to the organization in 2021 after getting a title shot in just his 3rd professional bout. On top of the title opportunity, he'd be slotted in as a main event for Demo Fight 10, and he'd be successful in the outing, finishing Bruno Leonardo in the first round and earning himself his first regional title. He would take on 6 more fights for Demo Fight, competing on every consecutive event from Demo Fight 13 to 19. He would rack up 3 successful title defenses, and in 2 of the Demo Fight bouts, he would take on heavyweight competition. By the end of 2023, the Brazilian regional talent was 9-0, and he had already accumulated 8 finishes with 6 in the first round. And probably, in my opinion, the most impressive, brave when they came to Brazil with their victorious MMA promotion, he would get a decent opponent in a 4-1 fighter who was a former Octagon competitor, but his result would be no different. He'd finish him in emphatic fashion, putting his opponent out in under a minute and a half. And after this contest, he would fashion a t-shirt that would make his intentions clear, following up in interviews pleading his case to UFC management for a shot at the big leagues. He would have to take on a couple more bouts though. Again, at heavyweight, he would finish 2 opponents back-to-back in under 5 minutes in the first round, extending his first round finishes to 8 and his total finishes to 10, and the UFC would have no other option than to try and bring him in. But it felt like the Contender Series was cursed for Raffael. He would have 3 fights fall out, and the UFC would finally decide, with the most recent event being UFC 308, that they would bring him in to take on another prospect in Ibo Aslan in a light heavyweight matchup between 2 finishing specialists. I honestly think Raffael might have the edge with his background in grappling and his submissions in the background, but Ibo Aslan is no slouch at 13-1. I have a video on him as well. You can go check that out. And this was Dana White's fight to look out for on the whole of UFC 308. That'll do it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed, smash the like button, subscribe to Combat Sports Central, and I will see you in the next one.